Shut up and stop resisting!
Imagine getting told to step out of the vehicle now. Not because you broke a law, not because you were a threat, but because a cop decided the color of your skin made you suspicious enough to treat like a criminal. Now imagine that same cop losing everything, his badge, his pension, his career, all because the truth came out in front of the entire world. Before we dive in, welcome to Untold Voices, the home of real stories they don't want you to hear. Make sure you tap like, subscribe, and drop your location in the comments. Let's see how far these stories travel. Meet James Hill, a calm, humble, soft-spoken black attorney from Maryland. A man who worked his way up from nothing, night shifts, scholarships, late-night study sessions, to become one of the most respected public defenders in his district. No fancy attitude, no ego. Just a disciplined man who believed in doing the right thing. Every morning, James ironed his suit, checked his case files twice, and reminded himself that justice wasn't just a word. It was something he had to fight for, one case at a time. To most people on the road, he looked like any regular man heading to work. But James was far more powerful than he appeared. Now meet Officer Ryan Dalton, a white police officer with a history no one talked about publicly, complaints swept under the rug, warnings hidden in files, and an ego inflated by the badge on his chest. Dalton thought authority made him untouchable. He believed he could look at someone, judge them in 3 seconds, and decide their fate. And nothing boosted his ego more than targeting people he thought wouldn't fight back. People he assumed had no power. People he assumed he could intimidate into silence. People like James, at least that's what Dalton thought. It was a cold Tuesday morning. James was driving to court, calm music playing, suit clean, case files neatly stacked beside him. Traffic was slow and peaceful, cars moving in steady lines. Then, out of nowhere, a police SUV swerved violently across 2 lanes and slammed to a stop in front of James's car. The door flew open. Officer Dalton stormed out like he was chasing a bank robber. "Roll the window down," he barked. James complied. "Good morning, officer. Is something wrong?" Dalton leaned in with a smirk, not to inspect anything, but to intimidate. "You don't belong here," he said slowly, like the words were meant to cut. James blinked. "Officer, can you tell me why I'm being stopped?" "Step out of the vehicle," Dalton snapped. "Now." James kept both hands clearly on the wheel. "Sir, I'm an attorney. My courthouse ID is right here." But before he could finish, Dalton lunged forward, grabbed James by the jacket, and yanked him violently. "Stop resisting," he screamed. But James wasn't resisting. His hands were raised. His body was still. Drivers around them gasped. Phones came out. Cameras started recording. The tension in the air felt sharp and dangerous. "Officer, please," James said steadily. "My hands are up. I'm not reaching for anything." Dalton shouted louder. "You were speeding. You were driving suspiciously. You tried to evade me." All lies. Morning traffic was crawling like a snail. Everyone there knew it. Dalton rested his hand on his gun. "I don't know what you're reaching for," he growled. "People like you always hide something." The crowd erupted, angry voices, shocked reactions, nonstop recording. This could have gone deadly, and Dalton didn't seem to care. Just when things felt like they were about to hit the point of no return, another patrol car arrived. Officer Ramirez stepped out. He took one look at the scene. James with his hands raised, Dalton screaming nonsense, phones recording from every direction, and Ramirez froze. He knew exactly what he was witnessing. He pulled Dalton aside. They argued in low voices. Dalton's face reddened with panic as he kept glancing at the dozens of phones recording his every move. He had lost control of the narrative. He knew it. Everyone knew it. Minutes later, Dalton walked back to James's window. His voice was tight. "You're free to go." No ticket, no warning, nothing. James didn't shout, he didn't curse, he didn't lose his calm. He simply looked Dalton in the eye and said, "You just ended your own career." And then he drove away. The video hit the internet before noon. Dalton's words, his lies, his behavior. Every second was captured from multiple angles. People were furious. Headlines exploded. The department tried to cover it with excuses, miscommunication, stress, unfortunate misunderstanding. But the video destroyed all of that. James filed a lawsuit, harassment, racial discrimination, and attempted false arrest. And he won. $1 million in damages. Dalton didn't just lose the case, he lost everything. He was fired, no suspension, no desk duty, fired, no pay, no pension, no benefits. His name became a stain in the department, a reminder of what happens when power is abused in the age of cameras. The man who once acted untouchable was suddenly untouchable in the worst way. No department would hire him, no community trusted him, and his badge meant nothing. James didn't celebrate. He didn't brag. He simply returned to work defending the people who couldn't defend themselves. He believed in justice, and justice showed up that day. The story became a lesson everyone could understand. Abuse of power has consequences. Racism always reveals itself, and the truth will always find its way to the light, especially when the camera is rolling. If stories like this hit you in the heart, go ahead and show some love. Tap like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Because here at Untold Voices, we make sure the stories they try to bury are the ones the whole world gets to hear.